Evaluate the following definite integrals using common area formulas. So our first integral on part A is the integral from 0 to 5 of the absolute value of x minus 2 minus 1 dx. So the directions are giving us a big, heavy hint. If we want to use common area formulas, then we're looking at geometric shapes that we can compute the area of. So we first want to graph the integrand, the actual function, so we can get a visual of what this function looks like and hopefully begin to see some shapes that we can compute the area of. So for part A, we need to begin by taking a look at the graph of the absolute value of the quantity x minus 2 minus 1. And of course, we could do this on a graphing calculator, but we're going to try to use our knowledge from previous math courses. What does this graph look like? The parent function is absolute value of x, so it is a V-shaped graph, and it has been shifted to the right 2 units and down 1 unit. So the vertex is down here. There has been no stretch or compression because remember we have a leading coefficient of a 1 out in front. So then we're just going to be going up 1 and right 1, up 1 and right 1. So the right side of this V has a slope of positive 1 and the left side of the V has a slope of negative 1 because there's been no stretch or compression. Graph paper would be ideal. If you're kind of a messy grapher, then you might want to put this on a piece of graph paper to help you get a more accurate picture. Now, we want to integrate from 0 to 5. So I didn't quite go far enough out. Here's 5. So if we integrate from 0 to 5, then we're looking at the area between this curve and the x-axis. So notice if we go from 0 to 1, that means the region between the curve and the x-axis is this little triangle. And then our next piece is from 1 over here to 3. So that means the region between the curve and the x-axis is another little triangle here. And then our last region going from 3 to 5. So if we go and stop at x equals 5, we'll get a vertical line here, and then we have a third triangle. So by graphing the function, we begin to see the geometric shapes that are going to help us compute this integral because we will compute the area of each of these shapes. So we have 3 triangles. We're going to find the area of each and then add those areas together. So the first triangle, the one that goes from 0 to 1, has a base of 1 unit. And because it's a triangle, we're going to go 1/2 base times height. So the base is 1 unit, and then the height here is also 1 unit. So we have 1/2 base times height. That first triangle has an area of 1/2. Second triangle is that blue triangle. So again, we're going to go 1/2 base times height. The base of this blue triangle, it goes from 1 to 3, so that's a distance of 2 units. That's my base. And then the height, again, showing in a different color here, I'll go yellow. The height is here. That's from 0 down here to -1. That's a height of just 1 unit, so 1/2 base times height. Now, let's talk about the fact that this triangle is below the x-axis. So you can compute this one of 2 ways. You can either consider that height as a negative height, so you could put the negative here and say it's -1. Or if you wanted to, just recognize that the triangle is below the x-axis, therefore that area is going to be considered negative. You could go ahead and just subtract off that area and then consider the height a +1. Either way, you're going to end up with a negative result. So it doesn't matter which way you do that. So 1/2 times 2 times 1 will end up with a 1. So this will be 1/2 minus 1. Again, regions that are below the x-axis are going to be considered negative area. Moving on to our last triangle, which is above the x-axis. So 1/2 base times height, one more time. The base of this triangle spans from 3 to 5, so that's a distance of 2 units. And then the height, here's where you have to be careful. If you haven't graphed it carefully, you don't want to eyeball this. We want to be exact. So this is going to be the height when the x value is 5. So if you were not being really careful with your graph, then you might actually want to go back up to the function and input 5. So 5 minus 2 would be 3, and then 3 minus 1 would be 2. If you were careful and counting with your slope, you know you went up 1 and over 1 more, so that is going to be a height of 2 units. So that last triangle has a height of 2. 1/2 times 2 times 2 will give us +2. So finally, our area is going to be 1/2 minus 1 plus 2, which is going to be a total of 1.5 units. And we don't really have any units. It's not an application problem, so you can just leave the area as 1.5. Part B asks us to compute the integral from 0 to 4 of the square root of 16 minus x squared dx. So again, using common area formulas means we want to use some geometry and we need to take a look at a graph. So on this one, we're trying to figure out what does y equals the square root of 16 minus x squared look like. Again, if you have a graphing calculator or Desmos, you certainly could graph the function utilizing technology, but we're going to try to think about this without technology. Now, this one probably is not a standard parent function that we recognize, so we might want to think about doing a little bit of algebra here to figure out what this curve looks like. So to undo the square root, you might think to square both sides. So if we square both sides, we now have the equation y squared is equal to 16 minus x squared. And if we bring the variables on the same side by adding the x squared to both sides, we'll get x squared plus y squared equals 16. And hopefully this is the format of a circle that you recognize. X squared plus y squared equals r squared is the equation of a circle. And that's a circle that has been centered at the origin. So in this case, because it's equal to 16, that means we have a circle with a radius of 4 units. So we're going to go ahead and graph a circle with a radius of 4 units. So that means from the center of 0, 0, we'd be going to the right 4, we'd be going up 4, to the left 4, and normally we'd also be going down 4, and this would be the entire circle centered at the origin with a radius of 4 units. However, what I have graphed here, this circle is the circle x squared plus y squared equals 16. But if we take a look at what we were actually originally given, we were originally given this square root of 16 minus x squared, and there's an implied positive sign out in front of that square root. In other words, if I were to take the circle equation x squared plus y squared equals 16 and do my steps in reverse to solve for y, so we would subtract the x squared, so that'd be y squared equals 16 minus x squared. And if you went in and you did square root both sides, we would end up with y is equal to the plus or minus square root of 16 minus x squared. So to graph the entire circle, we would need both the positive and the negative. The positive would give us the top half of the circle. The negative would give us the bottom half of the circle. So plus or minus square root of 16 minus x squared will be the entire circle. But in our case, we weren't given the plus or minus square root. We were only given the positive square root. So what that means is we actually are only graphing the top half of the circle. So I'm going to come in here and erase the bottom half of the circle and only look at the top half. Now that we have the curve graphed correctly, let's go back and look at the integral. We want the integral from 0 to 4. So if we go from 0 to 4, the area between this curve and the x-axis, that means we want to compute this red shaded area here. And this is going to be 1/4 of the area of the entire circle, or you could also consider it half of the semicircle. So using our geometry knowledge, we know the full area of a circle is going to be pi times the radius squared. But we want 1/4 of the entire circle since we're only integrating from 0 to 4. And the radius on this circle we said earlier was 4. So that'll be 1/4 times pi times r squared. So that's 4 squared, which will be 16. So we've got 1/4 pi times 16, which is going to end up being a total of 4 pi. So the area in this case is going to be 4 pi. And again, don't worry about units right now because we don't have a context for this particular integral. Next, we have the integral from -5 to 5 of the quantity x minus the square root of 25 minus x squared dx. So once again, if we are directed to use common area formulas, then we want to think about geometric shapes, so we need to look at a graph. And we could certainly put this entire function into our calculator or Desmos and see if we recognize the graph. However, I don't think you're going to recognize it because I certainly don't either. So we want to look for an alternative method. And you may notice that this portion here is very similar to what we looked at in the last example. So the only difference is now we have this x term minus the square root this time. So if we use our properties of integrals first, we can actually rewrite this integral as two separate integrals. So let's rewrite this as the integral from -5 to 5 of x dx minus the integral from -5 to 5 of the square root of 25 minus x squared dx. So utilizing our properties of integrals, this is the difference rule that lets us break apart this integral and rewrite it as two separate integrals. So now let's take a look at our first integral here, the integral of just x. So let's look graphically at what y equals x looks like. We know y equals x is simply going to be a line through the origin with a slope of 1. So again, if you have graph paper and you wanted to be more accurate with your graph, you certainly could. But we know this is going to be the line y equals x. And so if we are integrating from -5 to +5, let me go ahead and extend my axis a little bit. So if we were going to go all the way from -5 to +5, again, you'll see I'll have to extend down here a bit. But we would end up with this triangle below the x-axis, and then another triangle here above the x-axis. And those are going to be congruent triangles. They're the exact same size. So essentially, one area will be negative, one area will be positive. So we're going to end up with an overall area of 0 here. So the integral from -5 to 5 of x dx is just going to be 0. We don't even need to compute the actual area of these triangles because we know that the base and the height are going to be the same. Therefore, they're the same triangle, just one below and the other above the x-axis. So we'll have 0 minus, and now we move on to the second curve here, this square root of 25 minus x squared. So in a similar fashion to like we did on the last example, let's think about what this looks like. And if we don't recognize it right now in its current form, then we can go ahead and undo that square root by squaring both sides, which gives us y squared is equal to 25 minus x squared. And then adding x squared so that both the variables are on the same side, we have x squared plus y squared equals 25. And hopefully at this point, you recognize that this is the equation for a circle. Again, the center of this circle is at 0, 0, and that radius is going to be 5 because 5 squared will give us 25. So sketching a little graph of a circle with a radius of 5, but remembering we're not going to graph the entire circle because remember, the entire circle would be y equals plus or minus the square root of 25 minus x squared. And looking back up above, if we look at what's in front of that square root, that implied positive sign indicates that we are only going to be graphing the top half of the circle. So I'll erase the bottom half of the circle. So it's a semicircle. But again, the radius is 5. So we went out 5 in all directions here. So this time, if we're going to integrate from -5 to +5, then that means we're going to capture this area here. So it's all of this area between the curve and the x-axis. So it is half of the area of a circle. So with the area of a circle being pi r squared, we'll do 1/2 pi r squared, and our radius, again, is going to be 5. So we'll end up with -25 halves pi for the value of this integral. Next, we want to integrate from -pi4 to +pi4 of tangent x dx. So once again, thinking graphically about y equals tangent of x and what that curve looks like. Hopefully you remember from your pre-calculus or your trigonometry days that the tangent curve has a vertical asymptote. And that first, I shouldn't call it the first. That vertical asymptote, the one here I'm drawing to the left of the origin, is at negative pi halves. And the next vertical asymptote over here is at positive pi halves. And the tangent curve is kind of an S-shaped curve that goes through the origin, so it looks something like this. Therefore, if we are going to integrate from negative pi fourths to positive pi fourths, we're looking at the area between the curve and the x-axis. We know we have this region down here between negative pi fourths and 0, and then this region here between 0 and pi fourths. And they're not exactly triangles because one side is a curve, but they are equivalent shapes. These are the same exact shape because we're going from negative pi fourths to pi fourths, and because we know that the tangent curve has origin symmetry. So here's a great example where your previous knowledge of symmetry can come in handy. Remember that functions that have origin symmetry are called odd functions. So if you're presented with a function that is odd, you know it is symmetric about the origin. And therefore, if we're going from a negative value to the positive x value, then we know that these regions are going to be the exact same size. So one area is going to be negative, one area is going to be positive, and therefore our final value will be 0. You don't actually have to be able to calculate those individual areas. You can use symmetry to help you figure out this integral.